Okay, hello, hello, hello. Coming to you live. Today's Friday, the 11th of November, 2022. 11/11, sick portal, bruh. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually a global 8 month and week 45 of the year. And we don't really give a lot of credence to Gregorian calendar numbers anyway. So hope you have a beautiful 11/11 day anyway. So coming on to give a quick update about some astrological movements and to circle back with some things we said about the election. One of the things I'm aware of is that there are a lot of astrologers out in the world who make predictions and then they do or don't come true, but there's not a lot of accountability or follow up because there's always a next prediction to make. So in a previous video looking at this lunar eclipse on the midterms, we were talking about how with Mercury right in the mix, combust with the sun, and a lunar eclipse on election day doesn't bode well, does it? And so generally, things went pretty smoothly. The sort of indications that we saw in the chart about the potential for crimes against crimes against wisdom, prajna parad, definitely a little bit of that happening out there, but crimes against women was what was indicated in my view in the chart. And in fact, we saw a lot of the opposite, right? To the extent that abortion was on the ballot, voters were very much in favor of women's health care and women's right to choose. And so abortion laws were protected and in some ways enshrined in like the Vermont Constitution, for example. So actually a little bit of the inverse happened in that realm. But then looking at, there's a major technical glitch in Maricopa County in Arizona. And so they're still sorting out the details there. And of course, there's a bunch of immediate shouts of conspiracy when really, it was a printer malfunction, not making dark enough marks on the ballot. And so they're dealing with it. They're being quite transparent about it. And there is a solution. No one was disenfranchised. No one who wanted to vote was not able to vote. So that's a technical glitch, pretty significant. Maricopa County, one of the most populous counties in the United States, and a pure technical thing, right? Like the printer wasn't giving the right amount of ink. So okay, so a little bit hit, a little bit miss, but so I hope. We still have a democracy. So onward here. So okay, today, Friday, Venus's day. Venus is moving from the sign of Libra into sidereal Scorpio. And so Venus moving from her own sign, Venus is the ruler of Libra, into a sign ruled by Mars, which is Scorpio. And Scorpio is the feminine aspect of Mars that's a fixed water sign associated with hidden power, secret influence. The bottom of a well or a marsh is indicated with Scorpio. So it's this fixed water. Where does water get stuck or stable? And so the other thing with Mars is a celibate planet. Mars is the celibate warrior, whereas Venus is the princess who's very interested in pleasure and sensory experience. And so there's a little bit of a contradiction in terms here. And so the tendency can be for our sensory desires, our sexual pleasure to go a bit underground and be more in the shadows and be more of a secret thing. So if you've got a secret lover on the side, this is a time where like you're gonna want that, or be more inclined to keep your new relationship secret from your friends, or so in that way, it's a useful time to get into what are the desires that you have that you are afraid to admit to yourself. What have you always wanted to see, feel, experience, try that feels taboo? That feels like that would be risky. I can't even admit to myself that I'm interested in that. This is a good month for that. Venus will be in Scorpio until the 5th of December. So just a little more than 3 weeks here. So a time to go into your own shadow and see what are the secret powers moving your desires. If you have particular patterns in relationship that like, oh, no matter what I do, I keep getting the same thing. Well, there's some or subconscious force moving through you that's recreating that despite your best conscious desire attempts to do otherwise, right? To do better. So this is a good time to get into those patterns and root around a little bit. Go to the bottom of the ocean and see what treasures are lying in the ship wreckage of previous relationships. So then on Sunday, Mars is also moving signs. Mars is moving retrograde out of Gemini backwards into the sign of Taurus. And so talked about this previously in the Mars retrograde video, but Mars and Taurus, especially when going retrograde, has the tendency to be very stubborn and slow. And Taurus is a fixed earth sign, so very stable, the most stable and solid of all the signs. So um, it's a time to go very slow with your workouts, with your action, with the areas where you're putting your energy into the world, trying to get stuff done. Slow it way down, and know that slow and steady is going to win the race. And don't get frustrated when things don't progress as quickly. Know that it's going to take you twice as long to go half as far, and that's okay. There's like a density that you're moving through that is really good. Like you think about building bone density, and I think of like these martial artists who like do, like Bruce Lee would do this little punch, right? And just do it against like a concrete wall or a brick wall again and again until his knuckles are bleeding, but it's building bone density. And so that's kind of the mood until mid-January when Mars turns direct again, but and really until mid-March, March 13th, when Mars finally re-enters Gemini. Now, Venus and Mars are the sort of classical, like men are from Mars, women are from Venus, famously, right? And Venus is that feminine, sensual, sort of worldly feminine, whereas the moon is the more like exalted or divine feminine, shall we say. Mars, likewise, that sort of masculine, that warrior aspect, get stuff done, where then, okay, we can elevate that into the sun as the divine masculine. So Venus and Mars are the Rajasic planets looking for worldly pleasure, worldly gain, worldly success. Mars trying to protect that which is sacred and willing to fight if necessary. So Mars and Venus, these two Rajasic planets, are in are about to go into an opposite relationship, and there is this parivartana yoga where Venus is in a sign ruled by Mars. Mars is in a sign ruled by Venus. And so this exchange actually creates a nice relationship. It's like they're doing a house swap, right? The person who lives on a country estate wants to spend a week at the ocean and vice versa. Or, the city mouse to the country, vice versa. So there's this nice exchange so there's a lot of potential evolution to be done in this tension where they're exactly opposite. Whereas for the past, so they've both been in Gemini and Libra, both being air signs. And so what that does is they share resources, they share an approach, and there's this sort of camaraderie trying to get their needs met. Whereas now they're in an exact opposition. Come Sunday, they'll be in exact opposition, and so that's a more direct tension as opposed to a triangular relationship. And so there's no getting away from these relationship issues right now. And if you feel like you're stuck in the mud or slogging through issues that should just be resolvable, but it's taking forever to figure it out, and your partner or you are being very stubborn, and secret desires are coming up, or people are being motivated by desires that they're not aware of, just want to be wary of these dynamics. And again, it's always an opportunity for growth and evolution if we don't get stuck in the mud and get mad and frustrated and exasperated, and if we can keep this attitude that the planets are divine forces inviting us into our own evolution through our karmic experiences, then beautiful. There's a lot of growth potential for the next couple weeks here, specifically in this realm of emotion, relationship, and getting in touch with those unseen, unspoken, unspeakable desires. Now is the time to be exploring those. So that's what I came to say for now, and I will see you next time.